What is going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor. I appreciate all the new subscribers, everyone been checking out the channel and showing the support. On this episode, I'm going to be talking about something I am so passionate about, something I have been spending almost all of the offseason really looking at. And this is just a slice of this Washington defense of what 2021 really looked like and what we can expect in 2022. Now, in particularly, I'm going to be talking about my guy. So you know it's not going to be biased because I'm kind of going against him. And that's Landon Collins. Why Landon Collins won't be back. And yes, it has a lot to do with that guy on the right side, Percy Butler. So I'm going to be looking at a little bit of the scheme that Washington ran last year because I feel like a lot of us don't really know what this defense looked like last year and what to expect. It's something completely different, not even just for Washington, but league-wide that's going on with defenses that I want to look at. But I'm going to be breaking down Landon Collins, where he aligned a lot last year, and just break down what he did and what his roles were. And then, of course, talk about Percy Butler and why I don't think Landon Collins is going to be back. So, guys, as always, subscribe and like this video if you like what you see. But, guys, come on now. Let's take command. So like I said, guys, I appreciate all the new subscribers checking out the channel. Been showing a lot of support for me, and I appreciate it. As y'all know, this is a passion of mine. This is the career path I want to go down. I have a really good job right now, but it's not at all what I want to do. This is my passion, not even just this team, but this sport of football. Been doing this for a while now, but I'm kind of newer to the YouTube game. So I'm trying to get to 1K subscribers. Y'all have been bumping me up big time just the last 2 weeks of really doing this full time, in my spare time aside from my job. But like I said, guys, get me over to 1K. And a matter of fact, once I hit that 1K mark, I'm going to be giving away a brand new Commanders jersey. I already have my Jahan Dotson jersey in the mail waiting for it. So they should be pumping those out more. So by the time I get to that 1K subscribers, hopefully all the jerseys will be out and ready to be sold. Now, guys, like I said, on this episode, everyone knows it's not just the Alabama flag back here. I have been a huge fan of Landon Collins for such a long time. And, last year, of course, he kind of switched roles, which I'm going to really take a look at and talk about because I don't really think that he played linebacker like everyone says he did. And he even came out and said, like, hey, guys, I don't want to be a linebacker. I'm a safety. That's what I'm here for. We were pretty much paying him like legit safety money at the position. So I really looked at Landon Collins and what he did last year for us and where he aligned. And it was pretty alarming, to be honest with you, because for me, you know what? Let me just pull up the graphic because I'm going to let this speak for itself. So this here is a breakdown of where Landon played last year. So you see that little bit of purple, about 2 or 3% of his snaps, he was actually a corner, which is kind of alarming in itself. The green there was where he aligned in the edge, more of like that box safety role, pretty much just blitz packages and so on. Then that light blue spot right here is what tells a lot for us, deep safety. So you can see, I'd say probably about 20% or so of his snaps came from that deep safety spot, which was actually the lowest out of all the safeties on the team. And I think that's what really separates Landon Collins from the rest of the safeties last year. There's a couple times he actually played deep safety, had an interception. I want to say it was against the Cowboys where he played that deep role. But a lot of that went to Cam Curl and mostly McCain, who played a lot of single high. And bringing him back was something important to this team, this organization. The coaches really wanted McCain to come back because he was our heart and soul for that deep safety spot. And then you see right there in the yellow where he lined up in the slot. And I think this is where you see him as more of that box safety as well. But certain packages that we ran had Landon Collins in that slot, whether it's, covering wide receivers, mostly tight ends. So kind of what you want your athletic linebackers to do, but more on the outside, more in that slot position. And here's the big chunk, the big block, the almost 50% of all the snaps lined up in that air quote linebacker spot. That money backer, that super safety, that Buffalo nickel that you hear all the time. Just showing you how much of an impact, Landon had there, what that transition really looked like. Because the year before that, it didn't look like this. He didn't play that much of that linebacker role. What people don't realize was Kevin Pierre-Louis was actually a big part of this defense 2 years ago. And actually was great in coverage. And it really, you saw such a change in the snaps and the percentage. I want to say around 700, snaps of our 1,050 or so in defense had two linebackers on the field, but then also had a Landon Collins on the field. And I'm going to be doing like a full breakdown on defense, what to expect coming into the season, probably as, season, gets going, as training camp, heats up, stuff like that. But for me, I was just alarmed at what kind of role Landon had. Like I said, I don't think he was really much of this linebacker because there was no linebacker in the league that lined up that much in the slot, lined up that much in deep safety. There's no linebacker that does that. So he was still getting deep safety reps and so on. So it says that he got a lot of linebacker reps, but he still was a safety. I think he was just more of a box safety than we've ever seen before. So I think that's why people think that he transitioned to just being a full-time linebacker. I think he was just, like I said, that box safety role, which he excelled in greatly, and we saw that. But you have to, take a look at the comments he made, how he felt about it. He wasn't too big on it. But then also the injuries. But then more importantly, the money and what that looks like. And I think that's a big part of it. Now, there was another big part of this, and that is drafting a guy like Percy Butler. And I have to tell you, since the night we drafted him, literally the night we drafted him, I watched at least a whole game and a half of ULL last year. I've honestly watched every single game from UL Lafayette last year, every single snap, every single rep. And I've been impressed with Percy Butler. For me, he's the one that stands out. Like when you watch all 22 film, it's so hard to find a guy on tape unless he wears something different or if he's like noticeably, different in size or he's a certain stance. And for me, Butler did everything. You could tell he has that long, lengthy, range, but also his stance, how he composes himself, his size. He's a little, smaller in the weight range. But just the way that he carries himself, he stood out to me on tape. He seemed like that pro guy. And I mean, the Raging Cajuns had a really good defense. Loved creating pressure, a lot of tackles for loss. But one thing I noticed after like 2 or 3 games was like people don't want to throw to this guy. People don't want to throw towards Percy Butler. And I really saw why. And it's like, oh, he didn't have that many interceptions and so on. It's because people didn't want to throw him the ball. And I don't blame them. I'll show you, I'm going to show a couple tapes and some plays that I've picked out that I'm going to put up on the screen. But first, if you watched my video breaking down the draft blueprint for the defense, I guarantee we were going to draft a guy like Percy Butler. I thought it'd be higher, so I thought it'd be like a Jaquan Brisker, Kyle Hamilton, Jalen Petrie. I didn't know too much about Percy Butler going into the draft, but I knew that was the position we were going to get. I said back in February and March, linebacker isn't the biggest need on this team. It is someone filling in that role that Landon had because that's the defense we're playing, the big nickel, the big dime. Like I said, it's not just Washington, it's a lot of the league. So I knew like linebacker, and Khaleke Hudson played a lot of that role too. Cam Kroll played a lot of that role for Landon as well. Like they rotated in and out. So I wasn't surprised to see Landon go. I knew with the contract, but also I knew that we could replace him and maybe even upgrade. And honestly, that's what I've been seeing with Percy Butler is that upgrade. Is he provided a lot to this team that Landon did, but also more. And for me, that's what really sold me on this guy. And I noticed that he lines up all over the place on the field. Kind of reminds me of like when I was watching Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton would be in the slot one play, and then he's single high safety by himself literally the next play. So I took a couple pictures, and I circled where Percy Butler was lining up on some of these plays. So this one here against Georgia Southern. You see him out here, typical defense, but you have that single high safety up top, and that's Butler, line up in the middle of the field. One thing I noticed about him is his speed. Crazy fast. I'm not even just talking about his 40, but his play speed, how he recognizes the play, how he reads the quarterback's eyes. There's a play in the video that I'm going to show you where he is once again covering that middle of the field. He's so good at turning his hips and reacting, but then also getting to where he needs to be, baiting a throw and going after it and getting a pass deflection or an interception when he gets the chance to. So this is an example of him being in that single high safety role. Now, once again, you see him back here. He's playing off on this one. So you can tell, you can see that guy in the slot there. It's, 3 wide receivers on that left side of the line. You see his 2 corners on the right side, and then Percy's kind of playing what they call is off. He's off of the wide receiver. He's not up close. It's not press. It's not man. It's not bail, anything like that. He's just playing off, like a soft coverage. But he's still lined up back in that safety spot, but also kind of playing like a corner position, which is exactly what I believe they registered for Landon Collins, doing the same thing when they said, hey, he lined up as a corner. I could see this possibly being what they were talking about for that corner spot. But then also, once again, boom, Percy Butler. You will never see Landon Collins back there as much as we saw Butler at, ULL with them Raging Cajuns. And he's back there because they know he has that range, he has that instinct, but yet there's times where he's stopping the run, he's getting up in the backfield on plays. But I noticed that they didn't throw to him that much at all. I was honestly surprised at how little people threw to him. But then also special teams. This guy was one of the best gunners I've seen. There were so many times where he made an impact on kick returns, punt returns, guys fumbling balls. I added a couple of those in the video. But let's get to it. Let me show you some of these tapes because I really do believe that Percy Butler can come in, do what Landon did, but also did some other things better. Like I said, Landon's my guy. I have been a huge Landon fan since the Under Armour All-American game where he went against his mom and didn't go to LSU. He committed to Alabama. One of the most memorable commitment moments, especially for Alabama in history. But then we just also balled out at Alabama. Like, I wanted Washington to draft him when he came out. Of course, went to the Giants, then eventually came over to us. But there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, like he, did well in his new role, but also he wasn't happy there. I think that's a big part of it. Maybe there's interest of him coming back. John Keim said there might be. Landon Collins is posting stuff on Instagram, whatever. But for me, I just don't see it. I don't see it with the money fit. But then also, I just see what Percy Butler can do. And Ron said it in one of the first interviews when Julie Donaldson was sitting down with him on the field. And they just go through all the picks. It's on the Commanders YouTube page and Twitter as well. But Ron said, he's likely going to be playing at least 53% of all snaps because that's when we had, 2-3 safeties on the field at the same time. So, I mean, Ron loves this guy. He lights up every time he's mentioned or they're talking about Percy Butler's game. But he came out and said, hey, 53% of the snaps, they're his. Like, he pretty much is guaranteed this guy's going to start. I think he's going to have a huge role in his rookie season. They kind of brought up him on special teams, and Julie's like, hey, we saw this guy, lay some dudes out on special teams. And Ron's like, I don't know. Like, would love to have him there. But like I said, he's going to be playing about at least 53% of all snaps in that safety role for us and moving all around. That's the key thing, was the multiple safety roles and alignments that Washington ran last year, going from nickel to big dime. To 5-2 defense, to sometimes they had 3 safeties on the field, sometimes 2, sometimes it's just 1. I think that relieves some pressure off of McCain as well, having Butler being able to play that single high, having that speed that Landon Collins did not have. So let's look at some film. Let's break it down because that's what people care about. Everyone wants to watch the tapes. All right, this is one of the plays I was talking about where Butler's covering that middle of the field. Georgia Southern's quarterback didn't really see him, but also didn't make a good throw at all. But it's so hard to watch safety film because half the time they're off the screen. But with Butler on this play, he does a great job of baiting the quarterback to throw it. But what's missed in this is where he turns his hips and turns immediately and goes towards the side of the field that he needs to. And this is one of the interceptions he makes. And like I said, it's a terrible throw. But the thing with this play is him covering that middle of the field by himself. but then also having the speed to turn his hips and get upfield and make the interception. I mean, this was a crucial part in the game, 21-13, midway in the third quarter, Georgia Southern was driving down the field. Now this one here, Butler's up there around that 30-yard line. What impressed me on this play is that he gets blocked by the running back coming in, brushes him off. You see him right there at the 35-yard line, pushes him off once he sees the quarterback is going left. He's trying to pick up some ground, just throws the running back to the side, stuffs the quarterback, gets him down. That's what I love seeing. He's not afraid. Look at that. And he's getting up in the quarterback's face afterwards. He's just a ruthless guy. Now, ULL with Liberty, Malik Willis. That athletic ability, Malik Willis is going to do what he does best, run. But Percy Butler comes up, says, nah, I want all that smoke on my guy Malik. Boom, stuffs him. Malik Willis was the best at making guys miss tackles or just breaking tackles. Percy Butler got him down first try, said, you're not going to create a highlight film out of me. Stuffed him, got him down by himself. Love that athletic ability. And this is what I'm talking about, being a gunner on special teams with the punt. This guy calls for a fair catch, catches it, but it bounces like off of his foot a little bit. Butler just catches it like mid-bounce and just says, like, our ball. This is ours. It was such a bizarre play. Just takes it from him. Says, nope, this one belongs to us. And the ref has like, I don't know what the heck is going on. Like, it took a minute. He thought he just like fair caught it, but it actually bounced, hit the guy in the foot, kind of bounce, like rolls up his leg off the bounce, and Percy Butler just takes it away from him. There's so many times where he's laying dudes out. I mean, this guy was so impressive in special teams. Now, App State, you got Bryce here, quarterback. This is the one I posted on Twitter, and people love this one. This guy is, to me, just the typical, like, old school safety. Just wants as much action as possible. And you'll see quarterback fumbles the ball. You're like, all right, cool. He wasn't in this, but he's the one that picks up the football. Look at this. Guy's in his face, trying to get him down. Offensive lineman throws him off to the side. Another one, just throwing dudes back and forth. Helmet gets knocked off. My dude is up. He's hype. This is what I love seeing. I'm just going to walk. I'm just going to keep going. He said, that's our ball. I don't care. That is our ball. Now we're staying with Appalachian State. This isn't, no big play happened towards him, nothing like that. This is called leadership. He is a captain and a coach on the field. Look at this, pointing guys out. Coach made some adjustments, might have changed the play up on the sideline. He was all over it, telling guys where to be, calling audibles. Look at this, making changes, getting up in guys, communicating with the rest of his team, and then dropping back down into coverage. And then, of course, the quarterback just runs it for a little while. But just being able to be that guy on the field. How many times have we heard miscommunication on our defense, especially in the secondary? All the time. You want another nasty punt? Boom, laying guys out. First guy there. The guy, like, his blocker was right with him the whole time, but he did not care. This guy lays dudes out. And then I really watched this Texas game because, of course, Texas, with all the talent they have, Bijan Robinson, Carter's there, Xavier Worthy, explosive offense, just couldn't get things going. But I knew like this Louisiana defense was stingy, physical. I wanted to go back and rewatch this game. And just how much he really stopped things at the line. Look at this. Bijan Robinson, one of the top running backs in college football next year coming up. Stuffing them. Not letting them get by him. Let's check it out one more time. I'm going to meet you right here. Boom. Wrapping guys up. Sure tackles. That's what we need. We don't need no more missed tackles. How about this? I'm going to get in on all the action. Weave through all the traffic. Stop guys. I love seeing it. I like guys that try to put their nose in where the action is. They're aggressive, but they're smart. Look at him. He's not just attacking. He's moving guys out of his way, planning it, getting exactly where he needs to be. But he can get towards the quarterback too. Now, of course, the quarterback steps up. Wasn't the most technical pass rush, but still just shows that he can blitz as well. So I just want to give y'all a little example of everything. Like I said, people didn't throw to him much at all. I was surprised at it. But this interception, if you watch like the all 22, like the wide view of it, him just sitting in the middle of the field, kind of baiting the quarterback to think that that wide receiver is going to be open when he cuts up towards the middle of the field. He just turns his hips, and he has a great speed to get upfield where he needs to be. And it makes it look like a really bad throw. I mean, it was a bad throw, but still just having that ability to get upfield, that athletic. I was just so impressed by how fast he was, for his, length and size. How physical he was, but how smart he was and how he played. Like, he was aggressive, but it wasn't like I'm gonna leave guys open, or I'm gonna, sometimes he takes bad angles and such, but it's not as much as, I thought. I really tried to, find some bad stuff with him, but I'm telling you, quarterbacks didn't want to throw his way, and I really don't blame him. So I feel good about what Percy Butler is going to do. I think he can play in the slot. I think he can play single high free safety by himself. He's going to see a lot of two safety looks, him and Cam Curl. I think he's just like the faster of the safeties. Like, I have no problem with him taking all of Landon's reps and what he did, but also taking some of Bobby McCain's with that single high safety, with that free safety that we need, that coverage ability. And Chris Sims went as far as to say that this was his number one free safety in the entire draft. Now, Chris Sims, he says some crazy stuff, but still, like, he knows what he's talking about on a lot of things. And I was just really interested to see what these games looked like and what the film really looked like with Percy Butler. And I came away impressed. I mean, there was nights I got stuck in the tape. I was like, holy smoke, it's like 2 a.m. I need to go to bed. I've watched like 2 or 3 games. The App State ones were always fun. They see each other a lot because of the Sun Belt, and they're usually in the Sun Belt championship. But just two physical teams going at it. To me, those ones were a ton of fun to watch. But I loved what I saw from Percy Butler. I feel really good about it. I can't wait to see this guy at camp. Training camp's coming up in July. I'm gonna try to get out to OTAs here at the end of the month for May. But guys, I feel good about this. I think we as a fan base, we hit on Cam Curl. This guy, wasn't a 7th round guys in the 4th, but still, I think he's gonna wreak some havoc. I think there's a reason why that Ron and the coaching staff lights up when they talk about Percy Butler. So I can't wait to see it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed what y'all see. As always, like this video. Like I said, once I get to 5K subscribers, I am quitting my job, which pays me very well, but it is not what I want to do for a living. This is exactly what I want to do. Talk about this team, talk about football that I'm so passionate about. So I appreciate everyone that has reached out, all the comments, everything. I'm going to be actually doing a mailbag episode coming up soon too, probably in the next 2 or 3 Sundays. I'll announce it more. I'm going to do a schedule release episode once that schedule drops on Thursday. So keep an eye out on that. There's some rumors floating around. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm just waiting to see the actual schedule. Like I said, guys, give me the 1K so I can start making money off this, get things rolling. Love what y'all are doing. Support me. It goes a long ways. That pushes me even more to, give y'all the best content I can. But I enjoy watching these tapes. I enjoyed watching this guy hit some people and wreaking havoc on special teams. I think he's going to be a great impact player for us here in Washington. But guys, I will be back with another episode. As always, follow me on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, like football. And I'll be back with another episode. Subscribe, like, and tell me what you think about this guy. Go watch some games, watch some film. Louisiana Lafayette, Billy Napier had a great defense out there. And Percy Butler is one of those team captains. So appreciate y'all tuning in on Taking Command with Josh Taylor. I'll see y'all soon.